If I'm being honest with you, Tawny, I had never had sex with someone for the first time without alcohol. Like, I didn't realize that until I got sober. So what was that shift like for you when you decided to get sober, and how did that impact your sex life?
When I first quit drinking, again in 2015, the thought of dating, let alone hooking up, let alone communicating, let alone setting boundaries, like all of these things that you need to do to have a relationship, I had no idea how to do them at all, let alone do them sober. And I was right there with you. I'd never had sober sex. I was heavily reliant on liquid courage. And that is the thesis of my book, is learning how to replace liquid courage with intrinsic courage. And the reason that I hone in on that language, liquid courage, instead of like sobriety or drug or anything like that, is because I think that everyone, whether they're sober, whether they're sober curious or a mindful drinker, whatever, everyone can relate to the concept of liquid courage. You don't need to get sober to realize that alcohol might be relying on alcohol for confidence.
Absolutely.
Right?
Right.
And I found that using that language has been really a bridge, and it's bringing a lot of people to this conversation, as opposed to when I originally started writing this book, it was for people in recovery like you and me, and I'm a big fan of inclusivity and creating room for everyone to come sit at the table so we can all learn together.
The book is very much grounded in research, but you also shared some personal anecdotes that I found really helpful. I think one piece that so many people can relate to is not feeling comfortable in their vessel, not feeling comfortable in their body, and therefore using alcohol as liquid courage to work up the courage to have sex or to have relationships or to feel more confident, sexy, fill in the blank, right? In terms of the research, tell us more about why people are automatically turning to alcohol as liquid courage to work themselves into the bedroom, basically. And then how can we reframe that and start really tapping into, as you mentioned, that intrinsic courage?
The first chapter of my book is called Dating Yourself, and the second chapter is Body Image Beyond Booze. And I started the book with those chapters for a reason. You have to figure out who you are without alcohol. You have to love who you are without alcohol, or at least like who you are, I would say, before you consider having sober sex or before you go on sober dates. You have to figure out who you are first. And I'm not the first self-help author to say that. Like every episode of RuPaul's Drag Race ends with, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else, right? So